day off as a vacation day, and the fucking game was delayed almost all day, and I was like, oh, Farm Sim. I took the game when Farming Sim 19 came out, and they didn't release it till like almost 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm like, this is stupid. I could have went to work. Fucking Giants.
You're like a hotkey to autofollow your group.
Yeah, no, just click on their portrait.
Yeah, it's not really a hotkey though.
No, it just focuses on whoever you click on. Because you can split your group up. You can have them, like, do the split up tactic, and then they all go their own different ways. I just let them run through as a group because I'm just like, alright. Oh, so you have to go a significant amount of realities for it to start making a difference. I see here. I got 2. I'm just on level 1, though. I'm getting a lot more money than...
You don't have to go in order. It's just random, man. It's not a progression system. It's just random.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm just trying to get money to start adding my maximum mercs to my ship at the start. Let's move down here to...
Okay, so the auto follow toggle key is F. Or you can double left click anywhere on the screen. It'll follow them.
Freighter supply ship. I wonder if you could make a macro for that laser. If that would cut the game out.
Now that you're that far, I would not risk it.
Oh, I can't accept any more contracts. Buy gear. Activate time boosters. Buy 2 weapons. Oh, what?
And are the contracts the same as the XP things? I assume you have to be in the map, click them to accept.
Yeah, they're little guys standing on the map, and then you just click on them and it sends it to your contracts, and then you can read it.
I know that. I'm just saying, is that the only way you get them is by clicking on them manually?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, of course, now that I can't accept any more contracts, I'm going to have a fuckload of contracts. Oh, come on, there's no speedy arrows.
Why is it that sometimes you go into a map, the fog of war is clear, and sometimes you go into a map and there's fog of war like all over the place?
Because if you start a new reality, it's basically like a new map. If you play the same map without swapping to a new reality, it's just the same map, so it'll be completely visible.
That doesn't make sense. I just started a new reality, and that's what this group is in. And on my Charlie and my Delta squads, I started a new reality. Both of them are now on reality number 1.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that in the sidebar. And one of them has the map uncovered. The other one does not have the map uncovered. So I wonder if you get a reality that's the same layout as a reality you've already ran, if then it shows you the map, I bet.
Yeah, maybe. Most likely. I mean, I guess there's only so many layouts, right?
Right. Also, can I just say I fucking hate these wormholes?
Why? You don't like the memory game?
No.
I've only like, God, my success rate. I've only got to a maximum of 4, and that was like with the utmost concentration. Like last night when I was playing, I jumped into Discord just as you left. Like literally, I jumped in and you disappeared, and I guess you were going to bed, and I was like, "Fuck," and I was so fucking tired by 2 o'clock in the morning. I think the highest I got was like level 2, and I was just like, I need to go to sleep. I can't even think about what I seen 2 seconds ago. So, I don't know if you're in here when I was telling Agri. I joined this YouTuber's flight group, and on air, it's basically like Truckers MP, but for Microsoft Flight Sim. And so, last couple days, I've been just like, fly here, fly there, getting all this money, and I'm looking at my progression within the company, and I'm like, why the fuck? Like, it keeps saying that I'm like zero money towards the company. I'm like, I don't understand it. So I join his Discord, and I'm just like, listen, I'm like, I've been flying for 2 days. I've racked up like $30,000, and I'm not affecting the company. Like, what am I doing wrong? And he's like, oh, are you going to your pending? And I'm like, my pending? I'm like, no. I'm like, so I check my pending. Well, apparently, him as the leader, when he flies around, he picks out jobs that are high value and puts them into pending. And then when you look at the jobs, it says virtual airline on it, VA. So that's the way you contribute towards the fucking company. And I was like, that's kind of fucking stupid. If I'm in the company, I'd assume that anything I'm making, I'm contributing also towards the company. But apparently, it's only jobs that the owner wants to do. And then you have to go and pick up that job and deliver it. Then you start contributing to the fucking company. I'm like, oh, God. Like, now I just feel like an idiot. Herder. Oh, look, another contract. Fucking go figure. Oh, what's that? You got max contracts? Here's a bunch. And then when you actually want them, they're never around. That's my stapler. Get him. Get him. Oh yeah, and then later on you get those little booster arrows. Later on you'll get upgrades like in your tech pack that will turn around and say every time you use those, it'll like give you a bonus like 10%, 15%. It goes up by increments of your XP and money gathered. Let's add the new squad member. Let's make our hunter the leader. Oh, level 1 hunter. What? What do you mean it's empty? Oh, that's bullshit. Yeah, the only thing I wish is that they would name their fucking weapons differently. They all like have like uber or crappy or rare, and it's like just shorten up the fucking names here.
Yeah, they're all the same, which is what's funny. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm. The highest I've gotten for weapons is, let's see. The highest I've gotten for weapons is attack power 5, attack speed 2, attack range 3. That's the highest stats I've gotten on any weapons. And then gear, the health max I was working with last was 650 with 2 movement speed and 2 defense. So I don't know if those increment later as you, I don't know, but it just seems by level 30 like that's as high as it goes. Because after that, after playing for a couple hours after, I figured, oh, maybe more supplies will drop off better stuff as I get to higher levels, but it didn't really seem to do that. Supplies.
Also, I'm gonna be just honest and say that I don't understand how the fuck this laser kills this asteroid, because it's like it shoots a laser out on the release of your mouse button, and it's like, what? Like such a little dinky plink off the asteroid.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
They could have added an animation where chunks blow off of it or something like that, and I just kind of was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that would have been way better design. You have like a perfect point. Like you should get little increments of money for every chunk you chip off, and then the whole, if you chip it down, equals the amount that it would give. That way, if you click like 3/4 of the way and then get distracted doing something else, you don't have wasted clicks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a significantly better design. Man.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Jesus.
So when I was looking at the DLC, the one that everything's pretty obvious, but the one that confused me was the chronoscope, the one that says it gives you gives you a preview of whether or not time crystals or contract givers can be found on a planet.
Mm-hmm.
But of course they can be found. There's 1,000 different variants of the planet.
Yeah,
Right?
okay, so what it does is, because I have that, and what it does is when you launch a ship and it gets to that planet, on your main screen, like where your time inversion technologies, barracks, and everything is, it'll show like a toggle of either a diamond or a contractor. And you'll know right away that, like, oh, okay, if you're after that stuff, then you can just go to that area and then look for him, right? So it gives you an indication without having to actually go out and scan the entire map. Because, I mean, when you get to level 30, the maps are just fucking ginormous. Like, you can be searching the entire time that your other guys are there. So it's just a quick little indicator that tells you if it's like if there's something there, right? And that's basically all it is. In the early stages, it's not really, because I mean, once you're running, you're going to be clicking through your teams, and by the time they're done and running back, you're going to see it anyways. So, like, in the early stages, it wouldn't really be necessary, but when you start getting about mid-range and the maps start getting, like, 15 minutes long, because
Some of them get that way.
yeah, oh yeah.
I'm at about the 5 or so minute mark right now.
Yeah,
For
level
most of
30 is on average, like, 17 to 18 minutes per run.
Okay. Well, that makes it a little bit better. Because
Yeah.
I thought that it was going to get real obnoxious, the fact that my auto deploy was 1 minute and 30 seconds and I was running maps in like 2 minutes, and I was like, man, fucking half my time is spent waiting for the launch
Yeah.
to happen when I got auto deploy. Obviously I can launch it manually, but if I'm not launching it manually, it's like quite the fucking delay.
Yeah.
But if it ends up taking you 15 minutes per map, then that's not near as bad.
Yeah, and the nice thing about doing the realities too is if you are following your team and kind of collecting orbs and stuff like that, that chronosphere will let you know before you've even looked at the map if there's going to be something there or not. And on big levels, like on level 30, where you're spending 17 minutes on a level and you're scanning all the different areas that are opening up and jumping to another ship and another ship and another ship, right? At least you know which two you have to bounce between, or three, which three you have to bounce between. And there is, the one thing I didn't understand is there's a little timer beside his face when you go on the map, and it's a countdown timer, and I was like, I don't understand this. But what it actually is it's like you get onto the map and it'll say like, have the little like Klingon looking dude or whatever, and then it'll have like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's the time till he appears on the map. So if one is quicker, you can go to a different ship and his timer might be shorter, so you focus on getting him first, then jump back to the other one. Oh shit, I can start sending Bravo out. These guys are gonna get destroyed. So the difference between the planets and the arena is the planets, your guys will revive after they're dead when the ship returns, but in the arena they stay dead.
For good?
Yeah.
Like you can't use them in missions anymore?
Yeah, they disappear, they die.
So what's the arena like? And I guess what point do you open that up?
That's after you've unlocked Planet 30. The recommendation on Reddit is they said don't start doing the arena until levels like 23 to 25 is when you can start. But as soon as you lose your first guy, you know, don't push anymore. Or if you can purchase guys from the supply depot that are equivalent to the same level as the guy you lost, which is what I got into. I would lose a guy, and then I was like, oh fuck, I gotta replace a hunter, right? Because I was using all hunters. And I was always able to buy like another level 25 hunter and then push one more level, and then they would die. Then I'd buy another one, and then they'd push one more level. And you're getting like, I think at level 27 I was getting like 800,000 gold per run, like coins per run. So I mean, for the money it's worth it, but I just ended up getting to the point of where I was like constantly replacing these guys at like 200,000, and I was just like, okay, well, I'll reset because obviously they're not strong enough, or I need to farm more. So I had like 50 points. I think they said don't push past 100 eye points, because then it starts being more time than it's worth. Oh my god.
What do you do when you head to bed at night or whatever for this game? Do you yeah, I guess I don't know. What do you do a certain setup and then just let them go, or like do you log off?
I usually shut it off, because I mean your durability gets used through the night, right? So you could wake up, like I left it on one night, and when I woke up all their stuff was broken, and then it was a bitch of a time for me to try to get all their stuff back, because the money income I had at the time wasn't very good. So it took me like almost an hour of gameplay just to get them re-equipped with stuff again. So at lower level, like at end game level 30, and I've got, you know, tons of money coming in, I would leave it on overnight. But in the earlier levels where your durability is really noticeably going down, I would just shut it off, because then you get that 8 hours of standby, right? And you're working at home, so I mean you can go to bed, wake up in the morning, and then you won't be above your cap yet, right?
Right. So when you might have just explained this to me, but I'll be honest, I was like reading something and sort of listening but not fully hearing you. You said at level 30 you unlock the ability to prestige. I'm just going to call it that because I can't remember what the thing is called. How far after you hit level 30 did you push before you prestiged, or how long did you stay at level 30 farming whatever you farm that increases the what you get for reward from prestiging? Like, is it based off your gold or?
Yeah, it is. So when you go to time inversion, it says right now, like, I've earned a total amount of 2.12k credits. And then there's like a little notation below. It says I points gained on this inversion according to how much you brought in through this playthrough is 0. And then the notes above it says every 250k credits earn you 1.7 points. 1.7 because I've upgraded already into my eye level increase for my prestiging, so I've got a bonus 70%. So you can just check that and look, and like if you kind of get stuck like I did, where it's like, well, you can't really progress any farther because you're using more money to buy guys than you're actually bringing in, which I could have pushed probably farther. Then you would just prestige, and then it'll tell you how many points you're going to get to spend on those skills and whatnot for your next playthrough.
So you only get the prestige points from running an arena. You don't get it from running normal planet missions.
No, it's a total combined. Yeah, because in the arena, sorry, I should have specified. In the arena, you don't earn money and you don't earn XP. It's just a final chest at the end. If you can get through that arena, you get that final chest, and like, bam, here's 100k, right? So you're still getting your money income and everything like that. You're still getting your money in that from your regular ships farming as you're doing the arena as well. So you drop your guys off in the arena, go to your regular ships, collect your XP orbs, whatever you want to do, get your contracts and stuff like that. Then your arena thing will pop up saying that it's complete. Here's your 100,000, and then you send it back up again, and then you keep monitoring your ships and doing what you have to, and then all of a sudden, hey, here's 150. Your arena thing is back. And then when I was consistently dying over and over again, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to prestige, and we'll see if that helps.
So the arena, as you clear it, basically force advances you up in levels of arena.
Yeah, you still have to.
Planet, sorry.
Yeah, you still have to redeploy your arena every time, or you can put your auto deploy on, so your guys just keep going.
I understand that, but I'm saying the choice of what you're doing in the arena is it forces you to auto increment up one difficulty ish of the arena. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and so then at level 30, though, you run out of planets to run. So basically, your planets are set at let's call it a static amount that you're earning from your planet. And then you basically run arena until you get to a wall where your guys are dying too much and your planets can't get you enough gold to sustain you, and that's when you reset.
That's correct.
Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like level 27. Level 27, my reward for running level 27, which took a really long time, was 825,000, and then I lost a person, and at the time through the supply thing, it was 237,000 to buy a new hunter, and I was like, hey, this is getting really expensive, because then you got to buy the weapon and you got to buy the armor, which is another like 70 to 70,000 each. Right, so then I was looking at it going, well, that's almost half my income. I'll just reset and then we'll push again. So that was what I based my decision on for resetting. Getting to 100, I don't think was going to be even near possible, like they were saying on Reddit. Trying to push to 100, I don't think that would have happened.
So there were some people on Reddit that said that on your first reset, you should try to push to 100.
Yeah, they said that what you can push to 100. Anything after that isn't really worth your time. So they weren't specifying if that was like mid game to end game, where you almost have your skill tree maxed out. It would have been nice if they would explain that, but poor pistol. Wait a minute. Oh, I need a mercenary for that one. Yeah. Edit squad. Um, boop, 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 boop.
I've just started to get into the maps where within a normal map there's like a big boss thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get like up into like level 20s and 30s, you'll have like 5, 6 of those guys there.
The whole collect particles thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there let me put this. Is there a reason to not click that kind of whenever I think about it and see it? Like it doesn't have like a the more you collect, the faster it collects, or any bullshit like that.
No,
Right?
it goes to 100 and then it'll stop. So you want to get it before it goes to 100. 100 is equal to 1. So I usually just click it every couple of times. Like, I don't know, usually about like 30-40% I'll just click it just in case I forget later on.
Have you worked out how long that takes to fill from 0 to 100%?
No. I'm going to probably... I have no idea. I don't even have it unlocked yet on this playthrough yet. Bloop, 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 bloop. And like later on, it gets kind of annoying, and I really, really wish, and maybe there is a way, I don't know, for you to direct your guys and say, hey, go over here, because in the big maps, sometimes you'll get to areas and they've gone through it, and like there'll be a little offshoot of a room off to the right, and they'll miss it, and there'll be a chest there, and you're like, well, fuck, like go in there, like, and then they'll just end the level, right? Not that big of a deal, I don't think, but it's kind of annoying, like when you're scanning through the level, collecting all the orbs and the contracts, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a fucking room here with 2 chests in it, why didn't they go in there? And I thought maybe those little bugs and stuff that run around would do something, but I can't find any stats for that. So I don't even know if it's necessary to squish them. You get like those little worms and little beetles that like kind of, the little tiny ones that crawl around, you can squish them.
Yeah, like only when your people run over them, though, right?
Yeah. Well, no, you can click on them and squish them, but it's just,
I've never
I don't
noticed
think-
that.
Yeah. Yeah, one looks like a little white inchworm and the other one looks like a beetle. Oh, one of the upgrades I did get that I didn't have the money for was increases planet level difficulty to 30. But it was like 2 million, I think it was, and I was like, oh. But I went in prestige anyways because I'm like, I don't know if I'll make that just on my ships alone. Maximum contracts. Auto deploy available. Yay! Wormhole attractor. Oh, God.
Where's this technology? I think. Hold on, I gotta find it. Yeah, so there's this technology that says Astro Slots credits.
Mm-hmm. Every time you play the
Yeah.
card game and you like play through it, it gives you so many credits.
Oh. I was like, I didn't know that thing was called Astro Slots because to me, slots are like you
Yeah.
pull a lever and it spins little wheels.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was always ignoring it. Cause I'm like, what? I'm like, I have. Oh, maybe I need to unlock it to get it, and then I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, all right, whatever. Edson has died a spectacular death.
Oh, I don't know what I was going to tell you. Yeah, I might have told you this already. If I did, I'm sorry. But I was randomly looking through. Do you remember I told you for that Avorian game, that Minecraft and space game that we played a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Or I played a lot. You played a little bit. That I made my own mod for it. I actually took two people's mods and actually went into the files and found a way to combine them. And
Oh, really?
so so I made this and I put it on the workshop, and initially for a long time it was just me subscribed.
Yeah.
Whatever. I randomly checked it yesterday, or no, not yesterday. I don't know, fucking couple days ago. I randomly checked it. There were 100 subscribers to it, and it was part of 6 people's collections. I was like,
nice.
oh man. I was like, that makes me feel pretty good. Like, cause I spent like 2 hours one morning basically merging those two mods, doing all the tweaks and setup and testing and screenshotting so that I could put it on the workshop with good screenshots, because You know, we've talked about this before for, you know, farming sim and stuff. When people take shit screenshots for their mods, it like doesn't give you any incentive to download them.
Yeah.
And so like, I put a decent amount of effort into that, and it makes me feel good that people are subscribing and actually like playing with it.
Nice.
I was like, oh, that's cool. Because one person had a mod that made it so the asteroids that you mine had a lot more value to them, and then another person made a mod that made the asteroids very big, like size-wise, so it felt like you were really mining big-ass asteroids. And I was like, why doesn't someone have a big-ass asteroid with a lot of value mod? And I looked around and no one did, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll make it. So I took both sets of mods and I said, okay, here's the size one.
Yeah.
How do I increase the amount of ore that comes out of one of these larger graphical asteroids? So that's what I did. And I was like, in the comments, because in the normal game when you're playing, you can pretty much mine through an asteroid in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my mod description, I go, warning, because of the size of these asteroids and the amount of ore that's there, this is going to take you at least 15 minutes per asteroid. If that is not something you're looking for, do not download this mod.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I was pretty pumped about it. I hadn't looked at that. The last time I looked, I was literally the only subscriber and user of that mod. So that made me feel pretty good. That so many people have put it in their collections and downloaded it.
That's pretty cool.
And I think what prompted me to look into it was because there's DLC coming out for that game here soon. And I was like, oh, that might be a good time to get back in and play that. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to update that mod because I'm assuming that it'll change, possibly could change some of the game, like, stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, fuck if I know how to do that. So I was like looking, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of people subscribe to this. I might have to actually try and update this just for them.
Wouldn't you just have to like change the version number though?
No, but correct. If nothing about the gameplay that it affects, he didn't add new asteroids or add, tweak the way asteroid generation works. Like, yeah, I could just leave it as is. But if like he made changes to those types of things, then I'm gonna have to update that mod to account for the asteroids that he added to the game or whatever.
Right. That's really cool. Super awesome. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. So Astroneers officially has their server support? I didn't read that article, so...
Yes, they do. They have actual dedicated servers built into the game code now.
Nice.
And so I hung out on this guy's stream for about 3 hours on Sunday.
Yeah,
I think it was, and I was talking to him because his stream title was "Dedicated Server Play with My Buddies." So I got on there and I was asking him. So it's Nitrado, or however you say that server company. They're the only ones with official dedicated server support for that game. And I know from vague memory that we tried them before, Griff or you or me or someone, and just didn't like them. Like they didn't have very good performance, if I remember right.
The issue is that when we were on the farming sim server, remember how the first like half an hour of playing farm sim, it had to like load in the entire map and it was just janky and laggy, and then after your first initial load, it was good because everything was cached and it would run good. With very games, right? And the problem with Nitrado was it was always like that, and I was like, this is bullshit. And I kept calling them and I kept messaging them and saying like, hey, like I'm having issues with my server, it's really laggy and this and that. And they're like, are you using mods? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, we can't help you because we don't do mod support. And I'm like, well, no, I mean, it's the general performance of the server. Like, I don't understand why, like, when I'm looking at the server statistics, it's always dropping. And it doesn't make sense. Like, well, if you're using mods, like, we really can't do anything. I suggest you remove your mods and see if it does that. So me and Munner at the time were like, or me and Cutter at the time were like, oh, okay, fine. So we deleted all the mods from the server, did a fresh install, and then started playing it again. And it was the same thing with the vanilla game. So when I messaged them and I said, okay, so I reverted my server to vanilla. I've got no mods at all, and it's still doing it. And their thing was, we'll just give it a while. It's got to cache the map and stuff like that. It's a lot of information to process. But it was like, it would do it right after you planted, and then while you were harvesting, and like planting and harvesting was the two biggest things that it was always lagging out on. And because I guess it's calculating, it's not caching like what's already there. And so at the time it was 21 something that was the big farming sim guy, and it was Sergeant fuck, I forgot what his name is. When I was in his stream, and I'm like, hey, what server do you guys use for farming sim? I'm having a problem with Nitrado. And he goes, yeah, I got away from Nitrado. Go to Very Games. You won't be disappointed. They're very good service, and they're really good. And I was like, okay. I'm like, well, I'll try them. So I ended up buying Very Games server, and that's where I met Massey from, because I was having issues with my mods. And he told me when he was talking to me on the customer service, he goes, I'm off in 45 minutes. What's your voice chat? Can we meet on Skype? And I said, sure. And he goes, I'll walk you through what to do. And that's how he ended up becoming a viewer, because he was helping me with the server. So whenever I had server issues, he would just go in and he would look at the statistics or whatever needed to be changed, and he made adjustments, and everything would work after that. And so he said that they had set my server differently, something with the memory or whatever, and then that just became implemented into their servers because so many people were having that issues, right? But I never went back to Nitrado after that. I don't know if they changed it. They could be different now. But
yeah. Well, he was just basically saying in general, and like with Astroneers, as everyone knows, you can get pretty extensive with your build outs, and just even if you're running locally, the game can start to lag.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, we've gotten to the point in our game where we are getting some lag showing up here and there. It's hit or miss. Sometimes we're in a part of the planet or on a planet that's not laggy, and sometimes we go back to our main base and it's laggy. And he's like, so if you can deal with that, it's not a bad idea to get a dedicated server. So then I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'm not totally opposed to Nitrado or whatever, but then I was like, if they've got dedicated support, they just chose a server partner to partner with initially. It doesn't mean that other companies won't be spinning up, Astroneer hosting. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of looked around, and it looks like survival servers, which I have heard they're okay. Like, I've heard better things about them than I have Nitrado, because I know people who used to run Ark servers through survival servers, and they always had a decent opinion of them. And I saw that they had a coming soon for Astroneers. So, I don't know. But then I started thinking, and I'm like, well, so far it only seems like really Silent and I have an interest in this. And I think we were playing with Cutter, which he obviously won't play with us now, and we were playing with Griff, and he obviously won't play with us now. So I'm like, there's really only 3 of us that even have the game that are interested in playing. And I was like, do we need a dedicated server, or can we just set up that Reslio sync and sync our save games so that whoever's around could play however they want? And then we can just join that person who's, or, whatever we do, like we did with Satisfactory.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think we even need a dedicated server. I'm like, for just 3 of us right now, I don't think we need one. So I messaged Silent and told him about that Reslio sync thing. Told him to install that, and that I would walk him through it, once he got it. And I figure we can try that first, because I looked through the save games, And without purchasing Rezio Sync, you can't specify exactly what files in the folder to sync.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of my concern is that it appears that your profile may be saved in that save game folder. So I'm not sure if that'll get all funky if three of us are sharing our profiles as well as the actual map save file. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We might have to mess with that a little bit. Luckily, none of us have like played it a bunch and unlocked a bunch of things for our profile.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really have to worry about it if it messes that up right now. But down the line, that would be a concern if we started playing in, because since we played, they've added this whole cosmetic earnable purchase. You can purchase it because they want another revenue stream for real money. But you can definitely just earn stuff in game by doing achievements. And so, they're not like, it's like one of those, this is like the least predatory DLC, like cosmetics I've ever seen type thing. Because I don't think that those developers are assholes in that game.
Yeah.
And so basically when I was looking at that, I was like, with that in mind, if we're going to use a sync program, we definitely want to try it early before we start unlocking all these cosmetics for our account. Because if it starts fucking up our profiles, we obviously won't be able to use that, and we'll have to go to a dedicated server.
I wouldn't imagine it would be any different that you could just take your save file and upload it to the server as well. Like whoever has the most recent one?
Yeah, but at the same time, if we're going to start playing, we'll know very quickly if it's syncing our profiles as well. Mm-hmm. And then if it is, we can just stop and then decide if we want to get a dedicated server or not. If it doesn't somehow sync our profiles and that's not really what that file looks to me like it might represent, well, then we can just play with that Rezio sync and we don't have to worry about it. But worst case scenario, I kind of feel like that game's added so much that I'd almost prefer to just start a new game and not even try and start our old one.
I tried to about a month ago play it, and the fucking tutorial at the beginning is huge now. Before it used to be this sucks up the ground, this puts the ground down, this is how you pick things up, this is how you drive, and then go play. Now it's like fucking drive over here, mine so much of this, take it back, make this machine. Now that you've made this machine, go collect this stuff and process this, and then you got to make this and put it on your backpack. Go over here, do this, build this, and it's like, holy fuck. Like, they didn't skip on the details on their tutorial for sure. Like, it's a good tutorial. So, it's changed a lot. Now, since version 1, I don't know how much they've changed to that now. They could have added more. But I was just like, man, this is a haul just to get through the first, tutorial part. Yeah, the only reason we really stopped was because we kind of just hit that wall of now we're just going to planet doing every single thing, right? At the time, I didn't realize that you had to go up to that spaceport and actually unlock different things. I learned that from that one YouTuber who was like, oh yeah, unlock the moon port or whatever it was, and you had to find all those hidden bases on all the different, those those monoliths you have to put energy to. If you remember those.
Right. Yeah, I remember those. We never figured those out. So
yeah, apparently you got to power them, and then they shoot up into the sky and they light up part of the port up in the system, and then once you unlock all of that gives you another area to play in, and it's like, well, that was back then. Fuck, that's a lot.
Yeah, and now it's even more. Now they've got automation in the game.
Yeah.
The guy I was watching on Twitch the other day was showing me that, and it's pretty cool. You can set up they also have a ton of new storage. They have silos of storage now.
Yeah.
And basically instead of putting things in the silo, you put things on the outside of the silo. But it's much more storage than those triangle blocks that you used to be able to build. And then you can take the automation, and basically what it is, it's a robotic arm. So you put your storage on one side, and you put your thing that you want to put those things in on the other side, and the robotic arm just grabs what it can. And then once in a while, you'll have to rotate your storage. But I don't know, it's pretty neat. And And so yeah, I'm sure they've added all kinds of crazy shit. And then these events that they're doing now, where like you can earn these cosmetic things, like that really cool wizard Halloween hat
Yeah.
and outfit. So I don't know. It's just like that little news update where it showed all those kind of neat Halloween cosmetics looked pretty cool to me, and that's what prompted me to say, "Oh, hey, you guys interested in playing?" Wow.
Yeah, oh, Highway was playing with us too. That's right.
Oh yeah, he was. That's
Yeah, because
right.
he came around when we figured out that whole ledge thing, and that when you would farm that one route, you would they would drop the big ores at the bottom.
Yeah. The event right now, that's how you have to get it. You have to. Our save game that we were on, I loaded it up because I
Yeah.
still have that old save file.
Yeah.
And the planet we're on is the planet that the event is happening on.
Oh god.
It's that one that was kind of all green and whatever. Anyway, there's like these giant pumpkins that grow there. You have to get one, and the pumpkin's like a cauldron. And then you have to find these other type of pumpkin things that are growing in the ground. You harvest those, and when you harvest them, they burst and drop. I'll call it tiny pumpkins as well as pumpkin seeds. So then you can start to plant the pumpkin seeds to grow more pumpkins, and you place the little pumpkins in the cauldron. And then once you get enough of those cauldron little pumpkin points, then you can buy cosmetics with it.
Oh, nice.
And according to the guys that I was talking with, they said that that's pretty much how every event is. They'll hide something that a mechanic on a planet, and then usually you have a thing or receptacle that takes the hidden resources that you find for the event and then accumulates them. And after so many points, you open up different tiers of unlocked cosmetics. Is basically how they explained it.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, if we could get people to play and stay, I would do a server, but I mean, I don't want it to turn into the whole farm sim fiasco again, where I bought a server for a year and it got used for 2 months, and then everyone was like, eh. Mind you, that was Agri and Silent, and well, you know how dedicated to games they get sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in the mood. I want something that we can all play together. To be honest, like that's sort of what a big driver of that was.
Oh, Zach was the other one that used to play with us. Because remember, he was tearing down that mountain for the dirt so we could make that porcelain. Was it porcelain we were trying to make for some big spaceship? And then that's yeah, he came with us all the way to that other planet. Yeah, I remember we were tearing apart some big mountain. I don't remember what for though. Yeah, I asked Agri because he was in Discord today, and I was like, "Hey, do you have Astroneers?" And he was like, "No, I never bought it." And I was like, I haven't seen Silent around." Yeah, I'm trying to hold off on Flight Sim until the new update comes out, because I was talking with Guy Brandon yesterday, who was flying around. We were flying around in the Chicago area last night, and I said to him, I said, "This is the only game I know that seems like it degrades over time. I don't know what it is, but like it runs really good after the update." And then, about a week later, you run into an issue. And you're like, oh, okay, I can deal with that. And then you play a bit longer, and then there's another issue. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on here? And, like, now I'm having issues with the ATC. issues with routing, and I'm like, I've never had these problems before. Like, why does it seem like this game is degrading over time? It's really weird. Now my scenery isn't working. Like, I flew into Chicago and it was all just like destroyed blocks and little pointy triangles on the ground. And I was like, what the fuck? Like the photo telemetry thing or whatever isn't working, or whatever it's called. Photogram isn't working, so it's not pulling in the scenery. And I was like, this is fucked. I'm like, I don't understand why this isn't working now. And the live weather doesn't work, so I went back to using Rex. And they're working right now with the Rex weather engine for the injections, and that it's really rocky. Like, you'll drop from 40 frames to like 5 frames because of the injection, so I had to slow down how fast it injects. But it's just weird how the game kind of like progressively gets worse over time without an update. I mean, that could be a server thing too.
For a while, on my previous team at work, whenever they would do a patch day for our systems and deploy stuff,
Yeah.
they would send out this email and say, here's a list of enhancements made.
Yeah.
We started a joke that was said every patch wasn't an enhancement day, it was a disenhancement day. We would spend the remainder of that week or two fixing bugs that the patch put in.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
It sounds like Microsoft's operating under the same exact philosophy as my company's.
I mean, it seems like it's a lot of issues too, where almost just a general server reset, like, you know, hey, we're taking the servers down for an hour just to reset, right? Because that worked with their live weather issue. The first week the game was out, they were like, oh, we're having live weather issues, the servers will be down for maintenance. And then all of a sudden live weather worked again for, you know, a week or whatever, and then it started to get worse and worse and worse. And that's why I was just saying, it's kind of weird. It's like almost like they need to start doing, like, you know, every 3 days or something like that, like a 1 hour downtime or something, where you can still play the game, but the servers will be offline. So you won't have access to multiplayer. You'll be basically in a single world, right? Like a single player world. But I'm not really sure. I know people on the forums have suggested, like, can we get like weekly server resets or whatever, just so that things start working again. Because, I mean, that the one thing that makes me think it's a server issue is because that's where it's pulling the data from the scenery, right? Like, now I'm flying around, and the roads are, like, grass-colored. Even after you've seen, like, the little resolution blocks putting in the scenery, right? And it's like, well, roads aren't supposed to be green. It's like it's missing a texture or something. Let's see. Barracks and inventory.
Man, switching to the hunter as the leader definitely is the way to go. It really does make a difference. I'm like watching now that I did the switch, and yeah, it's a significantly it's a significant difference to how smooth the group moves now.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, you like you said, they've got the range, they start attacking, so then everyone else just fills in. The mobs end up attacking the tank anyway because the tank has to get closer. But you start the DPS earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of happy I found that, because I just had, like, the Marines as my leaders, because I'm like, well, they're tanky, right? So, yeah, they'll go in first, right? But then I was always having the tank die, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Or they get swarmed from behind. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? So I was like, there's got to be some kind of guide out there. So I was looking at guides, and I found a bunch of people talking about it on Reddit, and they're like, yeah, always do like Marine, Mercenary, Hunter. And I was like, all right, I'll try that. That's good enough for me. Try that. And then I was like, hey, well, this isn't making much of a difference. And then went back, read some more, and I'm like, fucking, I guess I should have read that part about making the Hunter the leader. I'm like, what difference is that going to make? And then when I watched them play, I was like, oh, I get it. Okay, so they're pulling from a farther distance, but they're pulling that enemy in towards them rather than them running in towards the enemies, right? And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Fucking MMO tactics here. Ooh, bravo, I got a contract and a time crystal.
Have you been using your time crystals at all for anything specific, or are you just kind of hoarding them at the moment while you wait to figure out more of the game?
I've basically hoarded most of them, but I've been using them mostly for I need one more hunter to do my arena, so I'd boost it by 3, or like use 3 to boost the supply ship, and then I'd get my hunter and then I'd send it in. I've only done it like twice just to get everyone's weapons completed in that because I had the money for it. But other than that, I really haven't used them. Like if I'm stuck with like 3 guys that don't have the upgraded weapon, I used it, and then okay, I bought the 3 weapons, equipped them. Okay, they're good to go now. I just call it impatient currency because it's like, I want it now, because I'm gonna forget later on and wonder why the fuck I'm taking so long to do stuff.
Admit, this game's growing on me. I mean, now that I've opened up the automation a little bit more, I understand it a little bit more. I gotta admit, my first impression of it was not good. And if the majority of those reviews on the forums are based off of that first hour and a half that I had, I understand the negative things. And I do feel like maybe that's a problem with the pacing of the game, and they need to consider that. Like,
It is
maybe
very
make
slow.
some adjustments. Because I'll be honest, I didn't know automation even opened up. I was literally probably planning on uninstalling the game today because I was frustrated with it last night. And I'm like, there's just too much going on. I don't want to launch all these all the time and manage all this shit. Can't this just run on its own? And then I was like, all right, whatever. So I logged off tonight. When I logged in this morning, I saw, I had gained a bunch of shit. So it progresses better offline than online.
Yeah.
Now, I said that to you, actually.
Yeah.
And then, but then I saw you most of the day running it, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is he running it? I'm like, there must be automation that opens up. So I'm like, I gotta be close. So I kept pushing a little bit, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, because I was doing my flying since 8 o'clock this morning, and I just opened up the game and ran it in the background, and then turned auto deploy on, and then I'd come in every once in a while, and I'd run, like while I was in my cruise, I would go through my different teams and collect all the orbs and the contracts, and then then once I got to the arena, I put the arena on auto, and then I just managed my ships. And then I did my flying and whatnot. So it was just kind of running in the background. That's pretty much why it was on pretty much all day. What the fuck did I need for my 3rd team? Hunter.
But what I mean is that fundamentally, I was under the impression that it really progressed better offline than online. But the fact that you kept it online, to me, told me that it was something that I hadn't unlocked yet that allowed me to progress while online. So, anyway, but yeah, this has potential. I don't remember. Is this early access at this point, or is this a full release?
I don't know. I think it's full release.
Yeah, it's full release. I might actually post a review, give it a thumbs up, but start the review with this game has a horribly paced early game that almost caused me to quit, and that once you get past the 2.5 hour mark, about the game really opens up and becomes fun to play.
Yeah, it's definitely like you can keep yourself busy in it by doing a variety of things. It's just it's slow. Like I basically did my inversion just before I jumped into Discord, and I am only like planet 7, or well, planet 12. I've got 12 unlocked so far. But I mean, mind you, when I play these games, I'm never really in a big rush anyways. Oops. Ah, fuck. I hit the wrong button. I just aborted. Oops. Go. So unlock travel speed, resale bonus, XP orbs. You should vacuum her.
There we go. Well done.
Wolf found a funny meme or a funny thing on our rabbit group chat for our rescue, and somebody asked, how many times a year do rabbits shed? And the person's response was, they shed twice a year for 6 months each. Be right back. Okay. Damn it.
All right, review posted.
Have you seen the show Modern Family?
I've watched a few episodes here or there. It's enjoyable, but it never really caught my attention, I guess I'll say.
Yeah. The only reason I started watching it because I seen there's 11 seasons, so I was like, well, 11 seasons, there's got to be something about the show that's good. And it's okay so far. It's nothing like, I mean, there's a couple times I like laughed hysterically today, but it's I don't know. It just seems to deal with a lot of like fucking family issues. It's just fucking, it's funny, like some of the parts, like that, how they relate to like big families and that. So and then I seen Bundy was in there, and I was like, okay, I gotta check this out. This is gonna be good. His wife refers to him as he's not really much of a boob man. I'm like, oh god, watching Married to Children, of course he is. But one of the things that made me laugh today was the kid and the wife, Bundy's character, I can't remember what his actual name is married to. They're from Colombia, and he's like this rich tycoon guy or whatever, and the kid's sitting there in the morning eating his cereal and drinking coffee, and the uncle comes out and goes, "What are you doing drinking coffee? You're too young for that." And he's like, "What? It's in my genes. I'm Colombian."
Yeah, that kid is a pretty good character. He's probably a lot of people that I know's favorite character.
Yeah, he's funny. I was just like, oh my god, that's fucking genius. And then, what was it, the second episode where he buys his kid the bike? You've probably seen that one if you watched a couple episodes. And he's like, hey, he goes, you gotta be responsible now. This is your own bike. This is your property. You don't want to just leave it anywhere. So make sure that whenever you leave it, you lock it up and, you take good care of it. So he goes, all right, go on, son, bike home. And so he's like walking down the street and he sees his son's bike and he's like, oh, that little son of a bitch. He's like, well, I'm going to teach him a life lesson. So he grabs the bike and takes off on it, right? Well, then his neighbor needs help with something, so he leaves the bike in the front yard and comes back. The bike is gone. And he's like, oh, shit. Like, now I got to explain to him that, like, you know, his bike got stolen. So he goes back to the bike store. He's talking with the guy and told him what happened. And the guy goes, well, do you want insurance this time? And he goes, yeah, I'll take insurance. So he buys him a new bike and gets home and sits down with the kid and has the responsibility talk with him. And the kid's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, you can't just leave your bikes around like that. You got to lock it up. And he's like, Dad, why would I lock it up in the garage? And he's like, what? And so his wife is pissed off because he's always hanging around this hot like girl in the neighborhood, right? And so she was locked out of her house when he got the bike stolen. And so the neighbor comes around the backyard and him and his wife are having a hug or whatever, and she's like, oh, blah blah blah, you left this bike. Here's the bike that got stolen while you were in my bedroom, because you had to climb up into her bedroom window to unlock the front door for her. And so the wife goes off on him. I was just like, oh, this is fucking great. So then he's like taking the bike back to where he caught it from, and these kids start chasing him down the street because they're like, you took my bike, you son of a bitch. Oh man, that was like the funniest episode ever.
Have you seen Schitt's Creek?
Yes, we're on the second season, I believe.
Okay. I started watching that about 3 weeks ago, and on recommendation of a friend, and I'm now almost done with season 5.
Oh jeez.
I've been watching a ton of it. Oh man. And that fucking chess movie that I mentioned in general last whatever it was.
Yeah.
Holy shit, is that good? I finished it, and oh man, it is probably the best drama show I've seen on Netflix. It's at least up there with Stranger Things.
I don't know.
So
I started
good.
watching the second season of Stranger Things, and I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I was just like, ugh. I got to the part where they like find that Gorgon pup or whatever, and it's living with them, and I was just like, okay. And then I can't remember. We got into something else, and I just like never really had like a hurry to get back to it. But I was going in between like Orange is the New Black and stuff like that, which I have no idea in that fucking show where I even am anymore, because there's so many episodes or seasons that came out. And so
I gave up on that show after 2 seasons. I was just like, I'm done with this. I don't even remember what the breaking point was, but I just didn't care for it.
well, we got all the way up until where they had the big fucking riot, and then they all broke out of the penitentiary to go swimming in the lake. And then the guards will join them, and that's the end of the season. And then when they come back, they're like back in jail and stuff like that. And a bunch of characters were like put into maximum like security and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't remember in the season where we stopped. And I'm just like, well, I want to start watching episodes, because I hate it when I start watching an episode and I get halfway through it and go, oh, I've seen this already. And it's like, fuck, waste of time. I just never, I don't know. They got rid of that curly-haired redhead or whatever. She got locked up or something, as far as I remember.
I don't know. You're way ahead of me, obviously. But
Yeah, it started getting really interesting during the season with the riot in the prison, because they were trying to overthrow the warden. And I just don't remember like where after that we stopped watching it, because a new season came out. If a new season came out and we stopped watching, then it would be easy to remember. But like we stopped like midway through a season, and I don't remember what episode it was, and I was just like, I was tired of looking. And then the new season of Unsolved Mysteries came out, so Wolf's been watching that one. And then we finished Lucifer, which is a pretty good show too. It took a bit to grow on me. Like, I watched a couple episodes with Wolf, like, just randomly, and I just thought his humor was quite witty, so I was like, okay, well, I'll start watching this. And then, fuck, there were days, like, on my days off where I would just sit here watching Netflix while I'm flying, and I'm just like, fuck, this is a great show. But then we got to the last season, and I was like, oh, sweet. I'm like, this is getting good. I can't wait. And then Wolf's like, yeah, so season 5 comes out, like, next year. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, they can't just leave the show like this. I was like, damn it. It's kind of funny, though, because after season 3... And you can't really notice it in like the show styling, but you can notice it in the detective. That actually after the 3rd season, they canceled the show. So the way they ended the 3rd season was like, okay, what? And then when they come back into the 2nd season, the 4th season, I was like, what the fuck? And then Wolf was telling me, she goes, yeah, they actually canceled it after season 3, and then Netflix took it over. And then Warner Brothers stepped in or whatever and was helping them produce the show continually, because it was, it became super popular after they canceled it, like everything else, right? It's like you cancel a show and it becomes the hottest thing on fucking the planet. And so they continued to see the show, which was really cool. But they didn't change any actors. Everyone's still the same. Unlike that one Tim Allen show I watched.
Yeah, if you're in the mood for a dramatic show, I cannot recommend that Queen's Gambit enough. Give that first episode a try or so. It is good.
What's the fucking show? I don't know, everyone's been gabbing about it at work. Lost Boys or something like that?
Nope, never heard of it.
Or
I know there's a movie called Lost Boys, and I've seen that.
Everyone at my work keeps talking about it, but I couldn't find it on Netflix because I couldn't remember what the name was. I think it was Lost Boys, but nothing's popping up.
What's it about?
I have no idea.
You just know, you keep hearing that name.
Well, a couple guys asked me, hey, have you started watching something, I think they said Lost Boys. And I was like, nah, not really. I'm like, they're like, oh, you gotta check it out, And I'm like, why? And they're like, dude, it's really good. And I was like, okay.
I bet they're talking about The Boys.
The Boys?
Yes, The Boys. It's definitely one of the best shows in existence right now. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, that might... Oh, The Boys. Okay. 2019, 2 seasons. Oh, man, if I get into it, it's only 2 seasons.
Yeah, and Amazon's really annoying, and they release episodes 1 week at a time.
Yes, they did that with... what show did they do that? We were watching a show, and we got to it. I'm like, wait a minute, there's only like six episodes in the season? And then Wolf was like, oh, yeah, like, no, they... as they get released on TV a couple days later, they'll come onto Amazon, and I'm like, oh. I want to know what's happening with the fucking Good Doctor. We should be watching it already.
Yeah, there's no way they can shoot right now, though. That's the thing. All shows from this year are going to be delayed or canceled, or at least delayed. It'll be another probably year before we get a new season in any show that had to schedule shooting this year.
Yeah, that's kind of shitty.
It's one of the primary reasons why a lot of the savvy investment people that I follow think that Netflix's stock is going to significantly go down because they won't have any new content over the next year.
Yeah.
Because their content pipeline is about 6 to 8 months behind. So the stuff that they're putting out right now was shot and edited and created, about 6 to 8 months ago. So we're now getting to the point where we're getting up into the February shot and created time frame, which we all know shit hit the fan in the world in March. So basically from here forward, unless they've done a tremendous job of somehow spacing this out, where normally maybe they would have dumped 4 shows on a week, and now they're probably doing 1 trickle out at a time. But Who knows?
Fuck, our prime minister made an address today on our news, and he's like, okay, so depression is up, you know, lots of people not so much like sick in COVID, but lots of depression going on. I just want to know, let you guys know that this sucks. This really, really sucks. And, you know, a lot of people get away from this kind of thing by taking a vacation, and next year is going to be completely different. And I can't stress enough how much this sucks, because he goes, I'm not encouraging depression or anything, but just the outlook of what we're going to do for our vacations and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people rely on that, but, you know, it looks pretty gloom for next year if this doesn't turn around. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Thanks for encouraging it. But then the fucking some of the like the Maya Riviera, fucking a bunch of like resorts are like posting like record fucking tourists right now. I don't know where they're coming from, but like a lot of like Mexican like resorts right now are just like fucking stocked to the tits, and it's like these people from overseas, like where the fuck are they coming from? So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, fuck, like, no vacation next year? Like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, we can't go anywhere. I'm gonna be sitting here just getting fat. New records of obesity in Canada because people won't leave their houses.
The bathroom light's gone.
Sorry, I don't know why I've always been forgetting to turn off the bathroom light.
No, it's you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just been a thing lately. I'll turn around and the bathroom light will be on and I'll be like, fuck. Oops. I did that the other night. I went to the bathroom and I forgot to turn the light off, and then I was standing there trying to listen if someone was in there. Reality shifter. Boss technology. Oh, yeah, I don't think I told. Did I tell you the pizza story at work? At my work?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So, Friday, I'm going to work, and everyone's sitting in the break room and like, hey, you know what? This one guy, first time he's ever got overtime at CN because he's always been at Transcona shops and they never did overtime there. So he turns around and he pulls everybody, hey, who wants pizza for lunch? It's on me. I did quite a bit of overtime. My check's going to be big. I'll buy like 12 pizzas or something like that and we'll have a pizza lunch. So everyone's like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, let's make this a pool-in thing. You know, maybe every 2 weeks we'll put in like, you know, $5, $10 or something like that and we'll just get pizza. So he's like, okay. He goes, all right, cool. He goes, I'll order the pizza. It'll be here for like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And we'll just shift our lunches around accordingly. So he goes and talks to the secretary and says, where do you guys normally order pizza from? I want to place an order for 12 pizzas for the guys I'm buying. I'll give you my, card or whatever. And just, And she goes, well, the pizza guy will come in to the office and then I'll just bring him out to you. And so he told her where she's working. Well, the boss hears about this and comes out of the office and goes onto the shop floor and finds Ryan, who ordered the pizza, and goes, "What are you doing ordering pizza?" And Ryan goes, "Well, I'm getting overtime, and I figured I'd have a nice gesture for our brothers, and I just order pizza. We're thinking like maybe every 2 weeks we'll just pitch in money, and every 2 weeks we'll have like a pizza lunch or something like that." And the boss turns around and goes, "You don't buy pizza for the guys. This is something the company does for the guys." And so Ryan turns around and goes, "Well, you know what? You don't do that for the guys. That's why I'm doing it." And he goes, "That's not your responsibility. We order lunch for the guys, and we don't want outside people coming in here and spreading COVID." And fucking the guys on the shop floor just like, stop. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, we're ordering pizza, for Christ's sake. Like, what's wrong with that? He, like, ideally, he got in shit for just doing, like, a nice gesture. And, like, when we heard about that, we're just like, really? Like, what the fuck? Like, they never buy us anything. And the moment, like, someone steps up and is like, "Hey, I'm going to buy you guys all lunch," they freak out because that's not our job. It's their job to buy lunch. So, well, in that case, then you should have turned around and paid for it then, if that's what you wanted to do. But they freaked out and tried to fucking reprimand the guy. And it was like, oh my god.
Yeah, my reaction right now is about the same as the guys on the shop floor.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, hearing that, you're just like, it's such, like, a bullshit power move.
Yeah.
You know, like, man, it's like, you're making us look bad. Like, I feel guilty because we never spent our pizza budget, so to speak, on you guys. You know what I mean? Like, they probably do have an allowance for buying food for the group, but they probably just don't ever spend it because they're trying to reduce expenses. And so this made them feel guilty, and then they reacted like that,
Yeah, and it was just like Ryan said to him, like, "What am I, stepping on your toes?" Like, honestly, you guys never buy us lunch. Since the day we've been here for 6 months, I have not seen one dinner here at all. Morale's in the shitter. The reports is that we have the lowest morale in the entire Canadian system. Maybe just something nice to feel good about, like, hey, we're having lunch, this and that, take some stress off, feel valuable for once in a while. But you guys never do that. And then he just went off like that. It's not your responsibility. The company does these kind of things, and we don't want people coming in and possibly spreading COVID in the shop. And it was like, oh my god, like, just stop leaning on it already.
What are you doing in the bathroom, you idiot?
But I was just like, I was blown away when I came back and I heard that they had made that big of a stink about it. And I'm like, there's no reason for that.
Yeah, truly insane.
It's like 2 years ago you wouldn't have given a fuck, but now because of COVID, now you're all worried? Like, come on. It's like any one of us that goes shopping at the end of the day or to the store has a chance of infecting everybody. Like, how many supposed cases did we have in our shop that they were freaking out and gassing the entire place? And, I don't think I ever told you this. So, we have a local yard, which is just like 12 sets of tracks. And those cars assigned to those tracks stay within the city. They're just shifted around the city and whatnot. They're like internal city delivery kind of things. The last couple, like, 6-7 months, we've been reporting like a natural gas smell. Like, when you walk in a certain part of that yard, you can smell like natural gas or propane or something like that, right? It smells really bad. So me and we were training the new guys coming back from layoffs, and I met the guy, and I'm like, it smells like natural gas, like really strong. And you could hear this like in the back, like somewhere. We couldn't find out where the sound was coming from. And it just smelled so strong. So I go on the radio and I'm like, hey, we're currently right now on local 2, adjacent to this car. for location reference, and there's a loud whistling sound, and it smells like either natural gas or propane, but there's no propane tankers around here. Everything is petrol. And I says, there's like, come take a look at it, bring whoever you have to, but there's a slight whistling coming from somewhere. We can't figure out where it is. So they're like, oh yeah, that's been like that for a couple months now. That's fine. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, if the repair truck comes and has to light a torch, what do you think is going to happen? So they sent out the dangerous goods crew or whatever, and they sniffed around with their little electronic sniffers, they're called. They detect hazardous gas and whatnot. And we haven't heard anything about it yet. And it's just like, like, that's all you need is like one person to like be around there and like light a cigarette and blow up half the yard. Like, and you guys are, oh, it's okay. It's been like that for a while. Like, yeah, we know. We've been reporting it all the time.
Man, that's so insane. Most places, when they have a natural gas leak, there's like fucking fire department on the way. Like, there's no fucking around with that, because that, like you said, can fucking explode.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, let's let a natural gas leak cause like a fucking whatever $1 million explosion that takes out a train that then explodes too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's insanity.
Well, that's what we were talking about in the truck when we were leaving. We're like, can you imagine? Like, all it would take is that ground to explode, and like, because right beside that tanker was a fucking is it 2502 for petrol fuel, whatever, like gas that goes in cars, and like, that's all it would take is that one to explode, and the next like 10 beside it, and like, we've got like white propane tankers, like a line of propane tankers like 5 tracks away. Like, why are you guys even fucking with this stuff? This is like a fucking nuclear bomb waiting to go off.
Yeah,
you know,
that's insane.
Or a chlorine car go off and wipe out the entire city because fuck, you're gonna die.
Right, it's not like the only thing you have there that you wouldn't want to explode would be fuel, right? Like, there's other shit that rolls through that yard, I'm sure, from time to time.
What makes me always nervous is seeing all the fucking flammable cars that go by, and then you have an oxidizer car, and it's like, well, I think this is a fucking bomb on wheels. Like, you know, and then you got the fertilizer hopper cars that are bringing in fertilizer. It's like, man, like, it would be such, like, it would probably take out half our province. Like, I don't know that extent, but I mean, it would definitely be visible from space if that yard went up.
Well, just think what happened in Beirut.
Yeah. Did they even determine how much fertilizer was there?
I don't remember that detail, but I mean, you know, you had a shockwave that fucking leveled a city.
Yeah.
Like, the actual fire explosion part wasn't dangerous for most people. The shockwave is what fucking wrecked the city.
Oh yeah. There's actually a special that was released on YouTube. I keep seeing it. It was maybe it's still on my page here. It was something about like analyzing the shockwave of Beirut.
Yeah, no, it's insane though.
Oh, the one night I didn't watch fucking Woke. Apparently Philadelphia broke out in a fucking riot, and like a dozen police were injured and several people were fucking injured and shot. I was like, oh man, I woke up this morning to watch like just a recap on the night's occurrences with the rallies and the riots and stuff like that, and they talked about that. It was like the top story. And I was like, damn it. I was like, how did I miss that? Yeah, Woke isn't doing very good since they've moved to YouTube. Like, on average, like right now there's 485 people. But he hasn't gotten over 1,000 in like since he's been on Twitch. I'm not sure why anyone really isn't talking about it though on the channel. Maybe it's just the whole thing is dying out, that nobody wants to really watch it anymore. Hold on one sec. Bunny's being bad. Hey, you stop biting the metal bars. Stop it. I'm gonna pick you up. Do I have to put guard one bun? There. Guard. Watch out now. Well, there's scrapes in the bars. Rabbit wants her freedom, so she's chewing on the metal bars on the gate. So we have this little stuffed rabbit, and I just put it there, and she usually, like, doesn't go near the bars then, which is really weird. But seems to deter her.
But you gotta create a solution like that.
Yeah, it's just a little stuffed rabbit, and I just put it by the bars, by the gate, and she doesn't really come around it anymore. It was like the other day, Wolf was cooking a huge fucking like 50-pound lasagna, and the rabbit doesn't like it when you cook food, so she leaves, right? She gets out of there. She doesn't like the smell of the cooking food, and so she went in the back. So I was like, oh, I kind of feel bad because she was eating her dinner. So I took her big bowl of food and I put it underneath the chair where she like relaxes on her mat, and she was eating her food. Well, all of a sudden I heard like clinking, like bang, bang. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And she had taken her bowl and she was like pushing it away from her mat because she was done with it, right? She's like, get off my fucking mat. I was like, Jesus.
I will be right back myself.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god! I love the Lincoln Project. They put out the funniest fucking shit, man.
Oh yeah.
There, watch this video I put in general. Oh my god, it's good.
Oh yeah, the documentary I was talking about was called Beirut Blast: The Explosion That Stole the Nation's Hopes by ABC, The Four Corners. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not sure how it is, but usually their documentaries are pretty decent. That's nasty. Covey spreader. Oh my god. Oh, Honey Badger don't give a fuck. His Kobe rockets. This is great. Get in there, Mask. Punches them with his tiny little hands. That was awesome. Kobe the COVID spreader. Oh my gosh. Nasty little Kobe spreader. Ooh, can I guess your name?
Oh man, one of my friends just sent me a message that was a. Oh, I can just put it in funny actually. So after you get a chance to look at that, let me know, and I'll tell you my personal story regarding that type of thing.
Where is it?
In funny,
Oh,
the email.
bitch at some softwarecore.com. Loser. Oh my god.
So, obviously, in that scenario, the way their emails are made is first two letters of your first name and then the first three letters of your last name, right?
Right.
So, in our one of our internal systems at work, it takes your first letter, your first name, and then smashes it together with your last name.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes that leads to some funny shit, right? But there's one guy at work whose last name is Olden Dick,
Oh no.
and his first name is like Mike. And so everything that he touches internally gets tagged with the user ID Molden Dick. Now I think that's
Get
funny.
that checked.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh lordy.
Did you happen to watch that honest government ad for QAnon?
Uh,
Oh, that
no, I don't think so.
I love those honest government ads videos. They're so fucking great.
When is your guys' election? The 6th?
Tuesday, next Tuesday, the 3rd.
I thought it was the 6th for some reason.
Always the first Tuesday in November.
Fuck, man. Like,
So the numerical date changes around, but the when we vote is always the first Tuesday in November.
yeah, this morning I tuned into one of Trump's live rallies. It was first of the 4th rally of the day, and I was like, holy fuck, he's doing 4? And, yeah, he was in when I tuned in, he was like mid-speech about Biden's family should be locked up because of their, what do you call it, their involvements in fucking money and laundering. That's why Joe's hiding and not doing any rallies and whatnot. And I was like, oh my god. Like, it's the same thing every time he holds a rally.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
And I bet you if he didn't have those rallies, nobody would go. If he showed up at a rally and was like, hey, look at my personal health care program that I'm going to put. These are the statistics that's going to be changing for the families and this and that, right? And I was like, that's what I'd be wanting people to be voting on me for, is the stuff I could change, not bullshitting and trashing and attacking someone.
Yeah.
Like, it's just thug life. It's like the schoolyard bully, right? Like, yeah, and then oh yeah, the other thing he was talking about at the thing, he was calling every camera crew that was there a bunch of fake news and losers, and like all they do is say the wrong things, and they look at the crowd that's here. They don't focus on that because they don't want people to know how many people are here supporting me. And it was like, what? Why are you even saying that? Like, who fucking cares? I watched that 60 Minutes interview that he had. My God.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that yet. I saw the clip where he walked out, but that's all I've seen of it.
Oh. It's like the whole fucking interview, just to sum it up, was him complaining because Joe Biden didn't get asked the same questions. He didn't get asked the same questions as Joe Biden. Like, the media goes outside and sees Joe Biden coming out of an ice cream store. They don't ask him, like, the difficult questions like, how much did the ice cream cost? They're like, oh, what flavor do you got? Do you like that flavor? Easy questions like that. But you guys come out and ask me that. It's, are you ready for some tough questions? Like, why doesn't he get questions like that? And it was like the whole interview, like, it was just him whining about Biden. It had nothing to do with the questions they were asking him. And it was fucking horrible. It was like, man, like, and there's people that support you. Like, are they brain dead? I don't know. He gets in for another 4 years. I don't know. I can see it also going bad if
Winnipeg.
What's that?
So if he gets in for another 4 years, I'm moving to Winnipeg.
The business hub of Canada. Well, that in Toronto.
Man, this tarp on my roof will make a good selling opportunity. Look, it's a skylight in the living room.
Yeah, in the summertime you can let the birds in.
Yeah, it's like a all natural house.
Yeah. Canopy with a skylight view. Oh my god. And the other thing too is that Trudeau was talking about was like if Americans are living up here in Canada, so he brought up the point that Trump invoked the citizenships right or whatever it is. So if an American becomes Canadian, they hold their citizenship, right? But if a Canadian goes into the US, they have to give up their Canadian citizenship because they don't want them coming back for medical reasons, right? Like, hey, I'm a Canadian, I get free medical, I'm going to go back to Canada to get this operation or whatever, right? So Trump has basically made it that if you're Canadian, come to the US, you have to renounce your citizenship as a Canadian and become full American. And so now what they're doing is Trump has made it that if you're an American living in Canada, we're sending you ballots by internet and you're gonna email them in, and was it online voting or something like that? And I was like, what? I'm like, if they're living in Canada and they have really nothing to do with the U.S. anymore, why would they vote? Like, that doesn't make sense. But because they said they're American, they have the right to vote. He wants as many votes as possible, and I was like, that's a little ridiculous. Like, I don't know how that works. If you like now officially reside in Canada but still have your American citizenship, are you allowed to do that? I mean, obviously, I guess you are, but I think that's a little weird. No, COVID definitely isn't the only thing that made this year suck. I'm just waiting for the election to happen because I always just want to see the cameras and the reactions and the live streams. I'm sure it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild, man. Like, I legit think that election night, the following day, maybe even the following week, maybe even the following 2 weeks, might be real wild.
Yeah, I was watching Chicago last night. I don't know what the fuck was going on there, but there was like so many people in the streets. They had like news helicopters everywhere, and people were setting off fireworks everywhere. I was like, "Is this a riot? I don't understand. Like, what's going on?" Like, there was no chanting of any sort. It was just like a massive party in like this huge intersection. Oh my god, can I get my next squad boost? This is ridiculous. So apparently there is some kind of slot game. I was reading their description in the game and it shows like a slot wheel.
Well, if there is, I certainly haven't figured out how the fuck to access it.
Yeah. Wow, this has all different pictures. Nope. God damn it. Oh god, not the dice. What? Okay, well, that one sucked. Must be getting close. XP. Sturdiness of weapons. Golden roids. On to 12. Ouch.